on to the Monster Hunter skill changes. Starting with expanded classes, because they need love. Adjustment. Removed all cast time and after cast delay. What is adjustment again? So it just gives you flee and reduced ranged damage coming in. I think that changes. I mean, it's alright. It's fine. Increased accuracy grants a new status when used, which gives you 25 defense pierce to great monsters and removes the cast delay. This is a big buff for Rebel. 25% pierce for free. I mean, that's great. Magical Bullet now grants a new status when used, increasing long-range damage by 3%, and removes aftercast delay. I hope this still grants the magic attack bonus as well, and they didn't just kill magic rebel memes in MH. That would be sad. But these are the small bonuses I mentioned. Like, if there's a lot of not really useful skills in MH, and instead they all give like small bonuses to your class. So like it's just useful. So you can Magical Bullet, get 3% range damage for free. Costs you 1 coin. Platinum Altar removed Holy Elemental Bullet cast restriction. No longer mutually exclusive, so you can cast it with Madness Counselor and Heat Barrel. Change cooldown and duration to 45 seconds. Basically, they made it so you can use non-holy bullets, because holy isn't always the best in MH. So they made the skill usable without holy bullets. Because it does give you quite a bit of damage. Madness Canceller. It can now be used with Platinum Barrel and Heat Barrel, and removes cast time and after cast delay. Heat Barrel is no longer dispelled when changing equipment, and no longer exclusive with these skills. So you can use them all together. You can Heat Barrel, Alter, Madness Counselor, what's the other one? Or that's all of them. You can have all your buffs running at once, and just go in there. Good buff to Rebellion. Oboro. Ninja Aura now grants a new status, granting 5% Great Monster Magic Defense Pierce per skill level. So 25% at level 5. It's pretty good. There's a lot of like pierce effects that classes are getting. I think like Expanded already have the most pierce on their Shadow Gear. Like I think Rebel gets 60%, and like this, I think Rebel can. Oh my god, I did it again. I think Rebel can get 100% pierce now, without like using a shield or whatever, which is pretty good. Ominous Moonlight no longer applies its normal effect. Instead, it increases all magic damage the target receives by 2% or 10% from Oboros. So there's a lot of these buffs too, which increases the, like, if you have Warlocks in your party and let's say an Oboro tank, you can increase their damage by 2%. It's not a lot, but there's a lot of min-maxing through all the skills now. So you actually use more than just your DPS skill. Empty Shadow no longer applies its regular effect, now applies a new status, reducing the physical defense of the monster by 3% per level, 15% at max, for everyone attacking the monster, or 9% for Kagerou's. So it reduces the defense, which isn't defense pierce. I think it's stacked differently. But basically, Kagerou's can ignore 45% defense now in MH monsters. A monster inflicted with Empty Shadow deals increased... Oh wait, so you reduce their defense, but they deal 5% more damage, which is interesting. I like the counterbalance there. So there's some drawback to the big bonus. Soul Reaper. SK now inflicts a status which increases elemental magic damage received by 2% for the user's currently equipped Warm Wind element. Whoa, okay. So you can increase the damage the monster takes from a certain element depending on the warm wind you have. So if you have wind element with warm wind active and you use SK on the monster, they'll take 2% more damage from wind magic. And you can do it with any of the warm wind effects. And it has a 28-second cooldown. All of these cooldowns are made so that you know when the skill needs to be reapplied, so that you don't lose track of it in your wall of buffs on your screen. Kahi doubles the heal amount and an internal cooldown between heals of 0.3 seconds. So basically, every 0.3 seconds when you take damage, you recover this much HP. Which makes the skill useful in MH, I guess, because I think it was disabled before. Soul Unity now applies Kahi to all targets. That's actually cool, because now you give this to everybody. So when you take damage from, like, if you get hit by Nazori Wave, the first hit, you recover 2,000 HP. It's pretty good. 0.3 seconds later, heal again. So you have a bit more recovery when you take damage, which I think will be interesting. Increased area of effect to 31 by 31. Kaizel is now able to be cast within the Savage Coast. No longer auto-resurrects you upon death. Instead, it applies a status for 30 minutes, which activates when you reach 30% HP or lower. When the status is... Alright, so when it's activated, when you hit 30% HP, the status is consumed and gives you Kiri Illusion status with a duration of 60 seconds. And can't be cast on targets with less than half HP. 5-minute cooldown. So it's like a fixed version of... Like, it doesn't resurrect you, but it grants you a shield. Alright, Light of the Sun. Now grants a new status when cast. Oh, this is a Star Emperor, by the way. Increases short-ranged or melee damage dealt by 2%. And damage bonus has been reverted. So they nerfed this to only give, I think, 5%. 5% solar burst damage at max level. And they changed it back to 25%. So I think Star Emperors will be happy with that change because their main DPS skill is no longer nerfed by a big chunk. Light of the Star now grants a new status when cast, increasing melee damage dealt by 5%. And Light of the Moon gives 5% as well. Light of the Sun gives 2% because I think it's the stronger skill. So it's a reduced based on balancing. The others give 5%. Doram, or Summoner. Doram, Summoner, same thing. Picky Peck now double attacks 100% of the time. This is insane. It's a massive buff. So, like, every 30 base levels, they have, like, I think it's like a 5 or 10% chance or something to double cast their skill, giving them like a 60-ish% chance at level 180. Now they just always double attack it. It's so good. A huge buff for Picky Peck DPS. I mean, considering that Picky Peck is already a really strong skill in MH, massive buff. Scar of Taru no longer applies the Bite Scar status. Instead, it gives them a status which increases all damage received by 2%, or 6% by Dorams. It lasts for 30 seconds. Super Novice. Wow, they actually got changes? Improves weapon damage by 1% per skill level. 5% weapon damage is pretty good. Transcendence, 1% magic damage per skill level. 5% magic damage is great. I wonder if that's just magic attack or magic damage, or like it's some different mod. I'm unsure on that. Steel Body. Super Novices with the tank role now have access to Steel Body at any time. Super Novices can do stuff in MH now. Their inadvertent nerf has been remedied. Super Novices now have permanent access to Super Novice Spirit, which is the Soul Linker skill in MH, which can be casted on themselves, which lets them use level 4 weapons, any headgear, their normal Super Novice stuff, so they don't rely on bringing a Soul Linker in their party, which is great. Other changes: all death-related effects to Super Novices have been disabled. Hunting Soups reset the death counter, same as the healer NPC. Any alterations done to abilities will follow the effects they would have if used by their original class. So Raid on a Super Novice is the same thing as Raid for Shadow Chaser. So Shadow Chaser Raid increases damage for Shadow Chasers by 30%. For Super Novice, increases it for Super Novice classes by 30%. So basically this says Super Novice is now viable to actually play Monster Hunter. Welcome to the club, Super Novice. I mean, they could be used before, but they were a lot not good. They were their usual Super Novice selves. Alright, on to the real classes. It's a joke. Enchant Blade now grants a new status when used, increases melee damage by 2% for 30 seconds. Just a nice buff. Dragon Howling now gives you 4% range damage for... Ooh. Welcome to the Captain's Club, John Kim. Thank you for joining. Enjoy the emotes that were edited in 3D Paint. Dragon Howling grants 4% range damage for 30 seconds. Another nice buff. Ignition Break. The changes are applied with the job improvement stuff. The chance to critically strike is reduced from half of critical rate. Oh, okay, so inside Monster Hunter, Ignition Break still needs double critical rate, or it's still halved. Which, I guess, yeah, alright, it's... Oh well, that's Rune Knight's problem. White in Prison, previously disabled. Now we're enabling it with heavily altering its core functionality and limiting its use. You can now cast it. When self-casting, the damage taken after the effect ends is... So after it ends, you lose 25% max HP. Give Gravity some ideas. No. Don't give them ideas. Things already suck in a lot of places. Have the duration when used on a monster and has a 30-second cooldown. Oh, enabling it without altering it. So basically, you just lose a lot of HP after the duration ends. And you can use it for tanking now, which I guess is alright. Mystical Amp. The max bonus is 15% at max job level instead of 50%. Drain Life no longer misses when you cast it. Get used to it. Comet. Magic Intox provided too much general damage on an already high performance class. Comet will now inflict magical intox, increasing all magical damage received on a monster by 2% or 10% for warlocks, which I think is fine. Ranger. Is that traps? Magenta Trap, Cobalt Trap, Mage Trap, and Verdure Trap. Enabled them all on the Savage Coast. Trap Ranger? Replace the effects of these traps with a status which reduces damage done by the opposite element by 1%, increases damage received by opposite element by 1%. Wait. So Magenta reduces damage from... So Magenta will reduce damage from fire and increases the damage they receive from wind. I think. That's kind of confusing. I think it can be explained, though, in, like, skill description. But reading it from here, it's like, it hurts my brain to think of the combinations. Additionally, the status increases the damage received by Hunter and Ranger traps by 30%. Okay. Traps previously did not lend themselves well. They don't normally in PVM anyways. Oh, okay. Example. Hitting Garunath with Maze Trap, which is a fire property, means it will take 1% more damage from fire and deal 1% less damage with fire. Okay, so it's just the same element, not opposites. Worth to note, the Sorcerer's Elemental Change provides similar effects and cannot stack. Alright. Is Ranger the new Sorg? I mean, kind of, I guess. But also, traps. No limits or unlimit. Duration stays 60 instead of 180. And that's I think the defense, magic defense, that's still removed. Mechanic. Cart Boost. Now increases melee and range damage by 3%. What a weird timeline, right? So, Cart Boost just gives them more damage now. I guess that's nice. Analyze reduces the defense and magic defense of the monster by 1, 3, and 7% at level 1, 2, 3 for everybody. And for mechanics, it's 3, 9, and 21%. So it's 3 times more effective for mechanics. 18-second cooldown, duration of 20 seconds. They now stack additively with Great Monster Pierce and Boss Pierce, which is good. Guillotine Cross. Ooh. Soul Destroyer. The following changes are applied. Okay. They re-enabled critical hits on Soul Destroyer. Real build again? Maybe. Dark Illusion is now able to be cast, reduces the movement aspect, and removes the auto cast. Changes, so it's now a long-ranged attack. Now grants a new status, increasing... So it gives 1% range damage per level for 30 seconds. That's good for, like, Cross Ripper Slasher and Soulbreaker. Oh, yeah, okay, it says right there as well. All right, that's cool. It's just a range damage buff on GX, which cool. Can't wait for you to elaborate on Sorcerer's MH2 exclusive. Oh god, what did they change? I haven't. Oh my god. Hallucination Walk sets movement speed to a fixed value and no longer reduces attack speed after the skill ends. It's cool. Change duration to 15 seconds. Cooldown is lowered to 90. So I guess you can... The Flea in MH is nerfed pretty badly, so I don't think the Flea really helps. But the dodging magic attacks by 50%, I suppose, is pretty good. And it has a lower cooldown, so you can actually use it more often and not be murdered by attack speed. Alright, Cloaking Exceed now increases melee damage by 2% for 30 seconds. Removes after cast delay. Experimental change. I think this is a pretty cool... like, this, when I read... This is the one skill I did read. I think this concept is cool for MH. Because, like... I mean, even just in general, because you're cross-impacting, and then you Cloaking Exceed, and then cross-impact again, and you cloak momentarily to increase your melee damage. And I think you have to actually use more skills than just one-click spam to get your full damage potential. And I think it helps class identities better. You feel more like you're playing an assassin when you have to attack, cloaking for a second, attack again, and then after 30 seconds you cloak again, attack, and you actually have to intertwine these skills in between. I think it's more interactive as well. Enchant Deadly Poison, increased damage bonus from EDP to 100% weapon attack and 75% equipment attack. Basically, EDP has been a mess of changes over time. I think mainly because they didn't say the precise changes in a couple of the patch notes, so it got very lost. Dark Claw, the following changes are applied with the job improvement. Bonus effectiveness to any monster remains at 50% melee damage, so no change on this inside MH. Stays the same. Archbishop, Magnificent now increases holy and neutral elemental damage by 5% for you only. Royal Guard. Defender. Long-range damage reduction has been reverted. Oh, so now you get 80% ranged reduce damage when you use Defender, which I think is good. It's fine. Just keep talking. Feels like an ASMR. All right, if you say so. Level specific effects have been changed to the following. Level 1 increases range damage by 3%. Level 2 increases magic by 5%. Level 3 increases melee by 5%. All levels will grant 150 attack and 150 magic attack. Royal Guards get a pretty good buff in MH. I mean, just shield spell, but there are normal skill changes and on top of this one for MH, I think is really good. So, Sorcerer. Oh my god, there's so many things. Alright. Soul Change now grants a new status to the target, which reduces SP consumption of skills by 30% for 30 seconds. Wait. Doesn't SP consumption, almost not exist in MH? I mean, I guess maybe, Reverberation can run out. Counter Slash has run out before on me. Okay, so basically it's for those specific cases that use 800 SP per cast. Not literally, but may as well. Health conversion grants a new status to the caster, increasing all element magic damage by 1% per skill level, which is level 5 max? Health conversion, yeah. Offertorium also consumes a lot. Oh, okay. Alright, I guess there are uses. It just feels weird in Monster Hunter where your SP on a lot of builds feels infinite because you just can't consume that much. So 5% all element damage, that's pretty nice. Warmer now cures and prevents the same statuses as Herbal Remedy. Alright, that's cool buff. Elemental Insignias. Increase the damage bonus to have full effectiveness if the attacker is a sorcerer. So everyone else is still 20%. But sorcerer gets 50%, right? DPS sorcerer is going to be pretty good. They got a lot of buffs. We're only halfway through. Oh my god. Holy. Elemental summon abilities. Lower the cooldown to 40 seconds. Yeah, or lowered the cooldown to 40 seconds. Due to the nature of mechanics in MH, the lack of options in survivability and mobility for elementals, we felt appropriate to make it easier to keep this integral part of the class more readily visible. Blah, 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 blah. Alright, so just lowered cooldown. Cool. Elemental change abilities. Enable the use of all abilities. Replace the effects of these abilities with a status similar to Ranger's elemental traps. Alright, so basically you enchant it with the fire thing, it takes more fire damage and deals less fire damage. Same thing as the 1% per skill level, same as the ranger traps. Which I think is pretty cool. You use like the water one on Nizori at all times. Or you use the wind one on Nizori, so you deal more wind damage. So you can either reduce Nizori's damage or increase your damage to her, depending on what you need. Killing Cloud. Reduce the effectiveness of Cloud Poison to 10% at max level, or 25% for sorcerers. Cool. Mindbreaker. Reduces the monster's magical defense by 3% per level for everyone attacking the monster, or 9% per level for sorcerers for 60 seconds. Monster with Mindbreaker status deals increased elemental damage. Alright, so they deal more damage, but you deal a lot more damage. Minstrel Wanderer. Oh, alright. Enabled the use of these chorus songs when alone. Or ensemble songs, whatever you want to call them. Or wait, no, they're ensembles, not choruses. Choruses are different. Too many names. When casted alone, are only applied on the caster and have been replaced. So if you cast them in a party, I think it hits everyone in your party. Or, sorry, if you cast with your duo or your ensemble, then it hits everybody in the party. Otherwise, it's only you. Increases elemental resistances to the core elements. Increase range damage by 3%. Increase magic damage by 2%. Increase stats by 4. When these abilities are cast with another performer, their effects are applied as normal, in addition to both performers getting the new bonuses. Okay, so they're casted normally if you're duoed, but then alone, you gain these bonuses. Or performers gain these bonuses, which is cool. Genetic. Bunch of bonuses. Red and blue herb activators. Now usable in MH and only if the party has a genetic. And it grants 5% damage bonus instead of 15. Oh, it grants 5% for everyone except 15 for genetics, which I think this bonus is really good. Cart Boost now grants a new status when used, increasing short and range damage by 2%. That's cool. Stein Wand, reduce cooldown to 30 seconds. Silent Breeze cures the same things as Herbal Remedy, has a 30-second cooldown. Bloodsucker, disabled because it's leeching effects. Spore Explosion, the new debuff, increases range damage by 2% instead, or 5% for genetics. Raid, increased damage bonus to full effectiveness, only for Shadow Chasers. Masquerade abilities. PvP in PvM? What? Masquerades have new effects and are grouped. Group 1. All magic damage increased by 1%. All ranged, all melee increased by 1%. Okay. Group 2 is reduces the damage by 1%. These are all really 1%? Why? All new effects replace the old effects with a duration of 20 seconds. Effects are increased to 1% per skill level for Shadow... Okay, that's why. So it's 1% for everyone, but 3% for Shadow Chasers. Yeah, Raid's really good, especially also for Super Novice. Because when Super Novice uses Raid, it gives 30% effectiveness for Super Novices. Like, it's a buff for Super Novice as well. There's so many things here. One Masquerade from each may be active at a time. Applying a different Masquerade from the group overrides the existing one. No longer have a chance to fail. Cast time, or removed cast time and cast delay, has a 18-second cooldown. Alright, and finally, Sura. Steel Body. Increased walking speed up to 7.14 cells per second maximum. This is the base walking speed, I believe. I think. Or it might be increased agility walking speed. It's better than 5, though. 5 is like slow. Increased damage reduction up to 25%. Can only be cast if you have the tank role. In efforts to promote tanks, movement speed was removed and increased the defense. All right, cool. This also affects Super Novice. Super Novice gets the same bonus to Steel Body. Earth Shaker now applies a new status, increasing short-ranged physical damage received from all sources. Alright, so it increases melee damage received by 2% or 5% for Ceres. So it hits the target. Duration of 30 seconds. Ride the Lightning now applies a new status to targets hit with this ability, increasing the range damage received from 2% or 5% for Ceres. As previously mentioned, the effect does not stack with Spore Explosion. If both effects are used, both classes will gain their full effect, while 2% retains for the party. Alright, that's it. That is the Monster Hunter changes.